Here are my top three storylines. My first storyline is going to be Kyrie Irving. When you think about Kyrie Irving, you think of somebody who's one of the most talented and one of the most dynamic and one of the most unique, not just players, but individuals in the NBA. He's an NBA champion, multiple NBA All Star selections, a Rookie of the Year, just to name a few. Well, Irving, just as he's continuing the renaissance period in his NBA career, he ran into an unfortunate injury. On March the 3rd, Irving tore his ACL in the first quarter in the game against the Sacramento Kings that would put an end to his season. And everything that's gone on with the Dallas Mavericks, with the whole Luka Doncic trade, with Doncic going to LA and Anthony Davis coming to Dallas, Kyrie Irving was going to really have an opportunity to showcase his talent and take it. I mean, he's already taken it to the next level, but he was really going to put it on the forefront with the Mavericks, with that team being on his back since Anthony Davis arrived in Dallas, and he's been battling his own injuries. But as I stated earlier, on March the 3rd, Kyrie Irving tore his ACL in the first quarter in the game against the Sacramento Kings, ending his season. And Irving is expected to make a full recovery for the next NBA season. The question is, when will he return next year? That's highly questioned. But man, when you talk about guys that are electric and somebody that can just play off the ball and somebody, I mean, offensively, not just one of the best guards, but one of the best players, one of the best, really one of the difference makers and one of the game changers in the NBA. That's indeed Kyrie Irving. But again, that's a tough loss, but Kyrie is expected to make a full recovery. When will he return for the next NBA season? That's highly questionable. They're saying that he could return at the beginning of next season in October. He may return in November. He may not return until after Christmas. Who knows what's going to happen? When you know about ACL injuries, they are very tough, man. And certainly but with sports medicine and things of that nature, they've really made drastic improvements in not just with how you treat that injury, but also with the recovery time as well. But Kyrie Irving, again, done for the season after tearing his ACL in the first quarter in the game against the Sacramento Kings on March the 3rd. My next storyline is going to be LeBron James. So Kyrie Irving and LeBron James, they were both former teammates with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They both won an NBA championship together. So Kyrie is dynamic. LeBron, I mean, what more can you say about him, right? Even at 40 what, man? Age is just nothing but a number. And definitely he's still making strides and still doing his thing in the NBA. But similar to Kyrie, ran into an unfortunate injury in the game last weekend against the Boston Celtics. LeBron suffered a groin injury late in the second half. He did not return to the game, and certainly the Lakers, right now is expected that LeBron is expected to miss at least 1 to 2 weeks. And the Lakers, they've got a lot riding on this now. Since the Luka Doncic trade, the Lakers have been on a roll, not just with LeBron and Luka, but also with Austin Reeves playing at a high level. Jackson Hayes has been a solid option since Anthony Davis left the team as a result of the trade. Also, Rui Hachimura, when he's been healthy, he's been productive. Also, Dorian Finney-Smith has played pretty well as well. But man, this is going to be tough for the Lakers. So for the next week to 2 weeks, LeBron is going to be out with a groin injury, and the Lakers are they're going to need a lot more Luka. They're going to need a lot more of the supporting cast to do the work until LeBron comes back, because the Lakers right now are in playoff contention. If the playoffs started today, the Lakers would be in the playoffs, not in the play-in tournament. They would be in the playoffs. But that's tough when you talk about one of the greatest players of all time, that's LeBron James, and still getting it done and still playing at a high level. And it's so interesting because LeBron, before the injury, he scored over 50,000 combined career points. That's both regular season and playoffs. So LeBron, again, he made history, becoming the first player in NBA history to score combined career points, over 50,000 points. That combines regular season and playoffs. That was before the injury. But man, if you know about LeBron, has been, still is one of the hardest workers in the NBA, and definitely somebody that, again, only 1 to 2 weeks is his expected time that he's going to be out, but there's going to be a lot more of Luka Doncic, and everything's going to ride on him, and everything's going to ride on a lot of the other Lakers in the supporting cast, because certainly they're going to need a lot from them until LeBron can get back and he can be healthy. And for my last storyline is going to be Steph Curry. So I mentioned Kyrie Irving, I mentioned LeBron James, and now Steph Curry. I mean, Steph Curry, multiple NBA champion, finals MVP, multiple league MVPs, all-star selections, an Olympic gold medalist. What's not to love about Steph Curry, right? Well, Steph continuing to achieve more milestones. This week, Steph became the first player in NBA history to make over 4,000 career three-pointers. That's right. He became the first player in NBA history to score over 4,000 career three-pointers. And when you talk about somebody that has just continued, or should I say, somebody that has continued to make his mark, not just as a player, but one of the, if not the greatest three-point shooter of all time. And there have been a lot of them in the great history of the NBA, with Larry Bird and Dale Ellis and Reggie Miller and, his father, Dale Curry, just to name a few. But Steph Curry is just one of one when it comes to the long distance shooting. And again, it's been since the trade deadline, the Golden State Warriors have been on fire when not only do you add Steph in the mix, but also you put Jimmy Butler and then Draymond Green and just that supporting cast that they've had. Golden State has just been on a roll since the trade deadline. But man, we talk about LeBron James and the longevity, but man, Steph Curry, he's continuing to get it done as well. And again, congratulations to Steph on becoming the first player in NBA history to score over 4,000 career three-pointers. And certainly, when you think about the three-point shot, it's certainly a shot that's all about accuracy. It's all about dedication. It's all about having the right precision to do the job. And Steph Curry has been doing it, and he's going to continue to do it. I don't see him slowing down anytime soon. And certainly, just like LeBron making his mark, Steph continues to make his mark. All right, we have some sad news to pass along to you. Junior Bridgman. Junior Bridgman was a gentleman that certainly set the blueprint for NBA players to achieve even greater success in their post-NBA careers, passed away at the age of 71. Bridgman played in the NBA for the Milwaukee Bucks and the Los Angeles Clippers, and his NBA career lasted from between 1975 and 1987. After Bridgman had a career in the NBA, Bridgman's life really took off in his post NBA career. He, despite making no more than $350,000 a season during his NBA career, Bridgman had a net worth of over $1.4 billion, making him one of the wealthiest former athletes in the world. After Bridgman's NBA career ended, Bridgman learned the business world, and he got himself immersed in the world of business, and he wound up investing and eventually owning over 100 Wendy's and Chili's restaurants before selling them in 2016. Bridgman was the president and CEO of Bridgman Foods, and he later became a bottler for the Coca-Cola bottling company. Also, Bridgman, in December of 2020, his company Bridgman Sports and Media bought Ebony and Jet for $14 million after the magazines had declared bankruptcy earlier in the year. And certainly, Junior Bridgman recently, as of September of 2024, the Milwaukee Bucks announced that he had purchased a 10% interest with the team. So Bridgman had become one of the minority owners of the Milwaukee Bucks. And certainly Junior Bridgman laid the blueprint for what NBA players could do in their post-playing career whenever they decide to retire. But again, a major loss felt not just in the world of basketball, but certainly in the world of entrepreneurship. Junior Bridgman passing away at the age of 71. All right, now it's time to take a look at the current league leaders in the association. Let's start off with points per game. The current leading scorer in the NBA is Shea Gilgeous Alexander from the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's averaging 32 points per game. What an amazing year that SGA is having, not just individually, but his team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Coming in at number two is Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks. He's averaging 30 and a half points per game. Coming in third is Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets. In fourth, Jason Tatum from the Boston Celtics. And in fifth, Anthony Edwards from the Minnesota Timberwolves. The next category is going to be rebounds per game. At number one, representing the Sacramento Kings, Domantas Sabonis. He's averaging 14 rebounds per game. At number two, from the New York Knicks, Karl Anthony Towns. Coming in at number three, Nikola Jokic. In fourth, from the Los Angeles Clippers, Ivica Zubac. And in fifth, from the Utah Jazz, Walker Kessler. The next category is going to be assists per game. At number one, from the Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young. He's averaging 11 and a half assists per game. At number two, Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets. At number three, from the Detroit Pistons, Cade Cunningham. In fourth, from the Indiana Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton. And in fifth, from the Los Angeles Clippers, James Harden. Next category is going to be steals per game. At number one, from the Atlanta Hawks, Dyson Daniels. He's averaging 3 steals per game. At number two, from the Los Angeles Clippers, Chris Dunn. At number three, Shea Gilgeous Alexander. In fourth, Nikola Jokic. And in fifth, from the Philadelphia 76ers, Tyrese Maxey. Next category is going to be blocks per game. At number one, from the San Antonio Spurs, Victor Wembanyama. At number two, Walker Kessler. At number three, from the Milwaukee Bucks, Brook Lopez. In fourth, from the Dallas Mavericks, Daniel Gafford. And in fifth, from the Indiana Pacers, Miles Turner. Next category is going to be field goal percentage. At number one, from the Utah Jazz, Walker Kessler. He's shooting 72% from the field. At number three, from the Cleveland Cavaliers, Jared Allen. In third, from the Dallas Mavericks, Daniel Gafford. In fourth, from the Detroit Pistons, Jalen Duren. And in fifth, Rudy Gobert from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Next category is going to be free throw percentage. At number one, from the Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry. He's shooting 93% from the free throw line. At number two, from the Milwaukee Bucks, Damian Lillard. At number three, from the Dallas Mavericks, Kyrie Irving. And tied for fourth, Amir Coffey from the Los Angeles Clippers and Anthony Simons from the Portland Trailblazers. Next category is going to be three-point percentage. At number one, from the Memphis Grizzlies, Luke Kennard. He's shooting 45% from three-point range. At number two, from the Milwaukee Bucks, Taurean Prince. In third, from the Sacramento Kings, Zach LaVine. In fourth, from the Cleveland Cavaliers, Ty Jerome. And in fifth, from the Phoenix Suns, Grayson Allen. And the last category that we have is minutes per game. At number one, representing the New York Knicks, Josh Hart. He's averaging close to 38 minutes per game. At number two, his teammate from the Knicks, Mikal Bridges. Coming in third, Tyrese Maxey. In fourth, from the Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker. And in fifth, his teammate from the Suns, Kevin Durant. And that takes care of your current league leaders in the association. Now it's time for a look at the current standings in the NBA. Let's start off in the Eastern Conference. Currently in first place are the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have a record of 56 wins and 10 losses. The Cavaliers have clinched a playoff spot. Currently in second place, also clinching a playoff spot, are the Boston Celtics with a record of 48 and 19. Currently in third place are the New York Knicks. They've also punched their ticket to the playoffs as well. They have a record of 42 and 23. Next up, we have in fourth place are the Milwaukee Bucks. They have a record of 37 wins and 28 losses. And then in fifth place, we have the Indiana Pacers, followed in sixth by the Detroit Pistons. And then currently in seventh place, we have the Atlanta Hawks, followed in eighth by the Orlando Magic. In ninth place are the Miami Heat. And in 10th place are the Chicago Bulls. So if the playoffs were to start today, Cleveland, Boston, New York, Milwaukee, Indiana, and Detroit are all in the playoffs. Atlanta, Orlando, Miami, and Chicago would all participate in the play-in tournament. And for the rest of the Eastern Conference standings, we have the Toronto Raptors in 11th place, followed by the Brooklyn Nets, then the Philadelphia 76ers, followed by Charlotte, and then in last place are the Washington Wizards. So again, if the playoffs were to start today in the Eastern Conference, Cleveland, Boston, New York, Milwaukee, Indiana, and Detroit are all in the playoffs, while Atlanta, Orlando, Miami, and Chicago would take part in the play-in tournament. Let's move over now to the Western Conference. So in first place, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder with a record of 54-12. What an amazing year that the Thunder have had, not just with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who's an MVP candidate, but you've got Jalen Williams, also Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort playing at such a high level. And then you've got also Chet Holmgren coming back from the injury as well. The Thunder have just had an incredible year this year. Well, I talked about the Cleveland Cavaliers earlier, and what a great year that they've had this year. Also the Boston Celtics as well, but Cleveland has been phenomenal this year, and then Oklahoma City has been phenomenal as well. And Mark Daigneault definitely deserves a consideration for Coach of the Year. Followed by in second place, we have the Denver Nuggets with a record of 43-24. Then in third place, we have the Houston Rockets with a record of 42-25. Followed in fourth by the Memphis Grizzlies. In fifth place are the Los Angeles Lakers. And in sixth place are the Golden State Warriors. So currently, Oklahoma City, Houston, and the Lakers. Well, actually, I stand corrected. Oklahoma City is currently the only team in the Western Conference that has clinched a playoff spot, while the rest of the other teams are still fighting for playoff spots and looking to move ahead in the standings. And then for the other placings that we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're in seventh place, followed by the Los Angeles Clippers with standing in eighth place. Followed by in ninth are the Sacramento Kings, and in 10th are the Dallas Mavericks. And then the rest of the standings followed by Phoenix, and then Portland, San Antonio, and then there's New Orleans, and then in last place is Utah. So New Orleans and Utah are eliminated from playoff contention. So if the playoffs were to start today in the Western Conference, Oklahoma City, Denver, Houston, Memphis, LA Lakers, and Golden State are all in the playoffs. And the other teams, Minnesota, LA Clippers, Sacramento, and Dallas would all be in the play-in tournament. So again, if the playoffs started today in the Western Conference, OKC, Denver, Houston, Memphis, Lakers, and Golden State all in the playoffs, whereas Minnesota, LA Clippers, Sacramento, and Dallas would all be in the play-in tournament. So certainly we've got about a month and a half left in the regular season. Things are going to get intense. The play is going to heat up. And for teams that have playoff spots for the moment, or teams that are in playoff contention, they want to stay in their respective spots. They don't want to drop down lower, because then that would put them in contention to be in the play-in tournament. And the name of the game is getting that playoff spot. You want to get spots 1 through 6. If you fall down between 7 and 10, I mean, you're in the play-in tournament, but you're kind of, on shaky ground right there. But it's important to try to stay consistent and get that winning streak to keep that winning streak going as much as you can. But that's where we currently stand right now in the standings in the NBA. All right, before we get on out of here, Joel Embiid, the Philadelphia 76ers announced that Joel Embiid will miss the remainder of the season with issues going on with his left knee. Man, this has been an interesting year for Joel Embiid. It's been a tough year for the Philadelphia 76ers. Embiid got into it with a reporter back in November, and then got into there was a meeting that they had Embiid had a meeting with not just with Sixers coaches, but also with players as well. Tyrese Maxey accused Embiid of being late to team activities. And I mean, boy, this has just been a roller coaster of a season for the Philadelphia 76ers and certainly for Joel Embiid. I mean, I know Embiid's career has been plagued with injuries. I know when he's healthy, man, Joel Embiid is just unstoppable. Not just his offensive game, but his defense as well. But the 76ers announced that Embiid will miss the remainder of the year, dealing with continuing issues with his left knee. And there you have it. And that's going to do it for another edition of the program. Thank you so much for tuning in, as always. And until next time, everybody, I'm Ed Robinson saying so long. You take care and have a great one. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Remember to click like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.